So do you remember the three primary functions of a rotary drilling rig? Well, the first one was lifting, rotating, and the third would be pumping. So let's look at an actual drilling rig. We used an electric drill as kind of a metaphor for a drilling rig, but they're rather complicated. So let's start. The first thing you have to have is some sort of a structure to set all the equipment on. This is called the substructure. It's made out of steel girders. It's extremely heavy and very, very strong. On top of that, you erect a derrick. This derrick generally can be rotated down when they move the rig. They can lift it and lower it in one piece. It's portable. This breaks up into parts. It's portable, so they can truck that off to the next location and so on. Inside, at the top, are shiv wheels. A shiv wheel is a grooved wheel that allows cable to be wrapped around it. You could have anywhere from 3 to maybe 6, depending how deep you're going. Shiv wheels at the top. Then you have to have a series of shiv wheels that move up and down. These are permanent. They're affixed to the top of the derrick. This set of shiv wheels moves up and down. This is the hoisting device. This is what you use to lift the drill pipe. If you were to go to a drilling location, you would see in the course of drilling activity a lot of movement of the traveling block, they call it. Okay, so you have wire rope going around these shiv wheels, and this is anchored down here. It's called the dead man. This is anchored, it never moves. But the rest of the rope does move. Now, the interesting thing is you got to have some means of pulling on this rope. That means that you have a large drum. It's called the drawworks. And this drum spools that cable. It lets off cable to lower the traveling block. It pulls in or wraps up cable around itself to lift. So what is it they're lifting? Well, on a typical drilling rig, you have a number of things. First of all, there's a device that's called the Kelly. And the Kelly is a square piece of steel about 40 feet long, and it's got a swivel on it, and it's connected to the mud pumps. And the mud pumps are located in a different location. They're over here, and they have engines that run these pumps. Okay, so the traveling block lifts the Kelly up and down. The Kelly allows this drill string to rotate, and at the same time to be able to pump fluid down. So there's a tight fit here so they don't lose fluid. So the engines associating with the pumping tank pump the drilling mud into the swivel and down through that squared shaft that will be attached to the drill string. Okay, so we have lifting, we have pumping. Now we got to have one more thing. So right here on the floor of the drilling rig is called the rotary table. The rotary table, if we look down at it, is big and round. It may be 3 feet in diameter, something like that. It's got a square hole. That's so that that Kelly rod can be dropped into that, the space here. Then it can turn to the right. That means they're drilling. they're going downhole, but it can also turn to the left. So the driller who stands near the drawworks and controls the hoisting of equipment is also controlling the pumps that are pumping the drilling fluid down into the drill string, and he's also in charge of rotating the drill string at the proper speed. Now let me just comment. These guys that are drillers on a drilling rig have to be extremely well experienced. There's a lot of life and safety issues involved. There's an unbelievable amount of expensive equipment. These guys have to be able to deal with all kinds of problems, like what do you do if your drill bit gets stuck down in the bottom? What if the cuttings are not coming up? What if the drill bit binds against the side wall of the hole? How do you get that out of there? I was on a drilling rig in Texas, and I watched. I was on the floor. They got stuck on the bottom. It was about 15 or so thousand feet down, and the driller kept pulling up on the drawworks, and I watched the weight indicator. It was 1,000,000 pounds, and all of a sudden it broke loose. It was a clatter, unbelievable noise, but they broke loose. Now, comment on this. I've never worked around people who are so optimistic than drilling people. If you or I were running this rig, we would be terrified by all the things that could go wrong. And it is difficult to drill in rock. You don't always go straight down. Sometimes the rock is slanted and the drilling bit goes off in a different direction. So the point I'm trying to make is it takes a very skilled guy. He actually has to feel. He's got a brake that controls how much weight is allowed on the drill string. He actually feels what's going on down at the bottom of the hole. And he has to be extremely sensitive with his feeling of how much weight to allow on that drill string, how fast for that rotary table to turn the bit, and so on and so forth. I was absolutely admirable, or admired those guys for their innate ability. It was a sixth sense developed only through experience for them to operate this kind of equipment and to be successful in what they do.